finally here. Christmas came early. The Grand Scion Cup. We're no longer playing for giggles. We're playing for money. And some of the people who've turned out are pretty impressive. I don't know what actually happened, but the word is some of the pros who signed up didn't actually appreciate they were playing different races. Many of them did what I would have done and immediately backed out. But not Dark, a GSL Code S champion and one of the best Zerg players in the world. He's playing Genetron, and I don't know how much he actually knows about it. Though he knows enough to get a node down, and now he's gone for gas. Gas before manufacturer. You don't see that very often, and I don't know if that's because Dark is brilliant, or it's because he doesn't know what he's doing. Could be both. His opponent Stassin definitely knows what he's doing. On this channel, we've seen him beat you, aka Magical Cookie, and I believe he actually came in 4th in the Scion Mini Cup. Dark's gonna try to cheese him. That's why his manufacturer is delayed. He's proxying it. Stassin is scouting, but I don't think he's gonna see it. He's going the wrong way. Oh, and it's gonna be a double manufacturer. No, it's an analysis terminal. That's your numeric upgrader. I don't know why that's part of the proxy. It kind of puts Dark a little more all in. But hey, I'm not fit to tie this guy's shoes. I'm not gonna question it. Arguably, it means he doesn't have to pull off another harvester to build it at home. Maximizes his mining, I suppose. Okay, Stassin's scout's gonna reach the main. He's gonna see there's no natural, and hopefully he's gonna notice there's no manufacturer. He's committed to a natural of his own, which is not ideal. Because with that analysis terminal, Dark can actually tech to blitzers or moles. Yeah, he's gonna get a full scout here. How is Stassin gonna react? He's only got the one edifice. He's gonna need more than that to hold this if Dark's behind it. Oh, Dark's ACR isn't gonna take him to the proxy, I hope. Okay, second edifice has gone down. He's gotta be putting it together. Oh yes, Stassin cancels the natural. Dark has his second manufacturer on the way. He's making blitzers. Okay, I'm guessing this is not Dark's first game because this is a build order. It's unique, but you see the logic. Okay, with the canceled money, Stassin immediately starts making more production facilities, or charge generating facilities if you prefer. He knows he's gotta up that volt count. Oh my god, we didn't do intros and I didn't even tell you we're playing on the map Death Aura. I hope I didn't miss the first blood too. Sorry peeps, you have to bear with me. I'm obviously just a little bit too excited. Blitzer number 1 is out. Blitzer number 1 is on the field. He's going for the natural, but he's gonna find it's gone. Oh, if he goes up the ramp, I think he could lose it. He's gonna go up. Stassin's waiting for him. Does he know how to use the Blitzer's supercharge? Yes, he does. Of course he does. He's Dark. Dark knew about supercharge before it was even coded into the mod. Dark was theory crafting Genetron strats before Solstice. And what he can do here, and what I think he should do, is he should go for a contain now. He can get his natural and prevent Stassin from doing the same. But he might be going for the jugular and just trying to bust up that ramp. They're both even on workers right now, both one basing and committing heavily to units. This is gonna get tense quickly. Stassin needs to find a way to get down his ramp and get control of his natural. He's making a repulsor instead. I would too, I'd be peeing my pants. Oh my god, I'm getting rushed by Dark. Why did I get out of bed today? Do you think if I apologize and give him the keys to my citadel, he'll go away? But no, Stassin's gonna try to pick off some units. He is! Dark, responding with supercharges. That is a lot of damage for little volts to take. But it's a numbers game. Volts are a lot cheaper. They don't cost gas. Stassin's using his gas to upgrade. He's gonna try to get volt speed. Sorry, I should say modified gate, because technically it's a upgrade that affects pariahs too. Oh, Dark's picked up a fixer. That's great for 2 reasons. Not only is he now healing his blitzers, the fixer does terrific damage against light, which volts are. Stassin can't really hold with just volts anymore. And there's Dark getting his natural going. He's also making equalizers. I don't get that as much. But let's assume that Dark's thinking ahead to what Stassin's gonna make next. Now if Stassin switches his volts for something armored, Dark's gonna be ready. They'll also actually be useful against that repulsor, which makes me fearful that Dark might try to bust up the ramp again. I really think the contain is what he wants. Without vision up top, that narrow ramp is not gonna go good for him. There you go. Stassin added subjectors and they are armored. Now the equalizers make perfect sense. Dark is ahead of me and I have complete vision of the map. Is anyone surprised by this? If you are, thank you, you're my new best friend. Oh, Dark thought about going up there, that cost him. What he might have been doing though was just faking it, putting on pressure. Convince Stassin that he needs to keep defending that ramp. Oh, but if so, I don't think it works. Stassin's coming out. Volt speed's about to finish. This is gonna be close. Dark is backing off. It looks like Stassin might have this. The equalizer's rate of fire is just too low here. Dark's trying to kite with him and it's not working. Stassin pushes him all the way back to the proxy. And Stassin's gonna be able to reinforce this. The defender's advantage is gonna kick in here. Dark is separated from his proxy. Yeah, Dark's gonna abandon it. He's heading all the way home. He needs to rebuild his army, and he may not have the facilities to do it. Now, he did make a fabricator back home. But as soon as Stassin can lock these proxies down, he's gonna be on Dark's doorstep. Oh, he's building a mole. That is some prime defense. And a relay tower. Oh, wow. Can Dark actually transition out of this? Stassin going for his natural. This game could stabilize. I swear to God, if this game stabilizes, I'm actually going to do intros. Stassin would absolutely have to think twice about assaulting Dark's base if there was a mole inside it. Wait a minute, that didn't sound right. That sounded like the mole is undermining Dark. That's not what I meant. You know what I meant. I meant moles are good defense. Dark's also getting a repulsor, so he is going to be walled in. Stassin is going to counter. Yo, yes he is. He's streaming everything he's got at Dark. That's actually the right call. Great game sense by Stassin. He's down on workers but up on army, and that is a formula to attack. The problem is, there is a wall and there are moles. And Stassin is about to find that out. He checks the third, finds it empty, and then bam, he meets the repulsor. And he is repulsed by it, physically and emotionally. Somebody told me the other day that the actress who plays Rita Repulsa from the original Power Rangers is deceased. I did not know that. I do not know why there's a note at the top of the base, but I assume it's more Dark brilliance. Probably wants to get vision of air units trying to slip by. Stassin's gonna brute force the wall. He gets through the repulsor. He's inside. Dark pulls the bots. He's gotta protect the moles so they can do their thing. Too late, they are already dead. Stassin knew exactly what to hit. GG! Stassin takes game one. Now I have to control your expectations here because I know you're a smart guy. Because it's a best of three and Dark is now on the edge, obviously his best move and next move is to play Zerg. He would then crush Stassin and even up the series. But I had a bit of a spoiler on this. Dark either doesn't know he can do that, or he totally gets into the spirit of the tournament here. Because he plays Genetron the entire day. So I think he's in real trouble here. As good as Dark is, Stassin's just no pushover. And I think Stassin just knows way too much more about this matchup. It's a credit to Dark to just how close this was. I know it was a fast game, but there were a couple of fights there which could have gone either way, and if Dark would have held on to that contain, he could have taken this game. But that's enough to talk about that. Let's get right to game two. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Okay, we're 2 seconds in and I can already see this is another variation of Zug is wrong. There is something very wrong with this picture. Dark is indeed playing Zerg. This is a 5-alarm fire for Stassin. I don't know what people expect the poor dude to do here. I thought Dark was Genetron for the day, that's what I was told. So what does Stassin do? You can't out macro him, you can't out micro him. I think what he's gotta do is take advantage of any blind spots Dark might have about how the Keiron works. I'm thinking Aurora Cheese might be a good idea. But yeah, Dark probably knows how to make spores. But I mean, other than some kind of clever exploit or strat, the only other thing I can think that Stassin can do is start thinking about game 3. Well, let's do our intros this time. Our Zerg player has definitely seen the light. And without it, it is Dark! It is cool to cheer for Dark again. When our Keiron player in the upper left was a wee lad, he couldn't decide whether he wanted to be a statistician or an assassin. So he became Stassin! Edifice is finishing up. Looks like Dark went pool first, followed by that expand. Stassin also expanding. He's doing the delayed Keiron gas build. Dark also delayed his gas a little bit, but he's getting it now. To the extent these guys can mirror their builds, they've kinda done so. Dark's Overlord scouting only. Stassin sent that converter, so he's gonna get the first look. Yeah, it's that standard Keiron build we see so much. He gets the Sanctum before getting gas, essentially getting everything you can get with minerals first. Stassin's gonna see that hatch and breathe a sigh of relief. But the converter won't because the Lings are already on him. Oh, he just got out of that surround. Dark, going for that early roach warren. We've all seen him do terrifying things with roaches before. Oh, that converter really wants to be a first blood. 4 of the Lings are streaming to the Keiron base. That Sanctum's gonna finish up though. Normally I would say Stassin would be just fine, it's only 4lings. But these aren't Zerglings, these are Darklings. They probably do double damage or leap over tall buildings in a single bound. Oh, they're up the ramp, they're up the ramp! The Volts are in retreat here. Stassin shaping in pariahs, that's really gonna help here. He's also pulling workers, that means if nothing else, disruption has been achieved here. But I'm starting to think the Lings are really just a distraction. Dark is making roaches. 4 in fact, and I don't think that Volts or Pariahs are really going to be all that great against them. But if you get enough Volts or Pariahs, they're good against everything. We'll have to see if Dark makes a third, because he might be two-basing here. Yeah, Superlings causing more disruption than they should be. Dark's out mining Stassin on less workers. Oh, that crinkle you just heard is not aluminum foil. That's a Ravager, it's officially a Roach Ravager rush. Stassin's adding another Sanctum, that'll help, but the roaches are on their way. What I'd actually like to see out of Keiron is a Foundry. I feel like Umbra would be pretty decent against roaches. Not because of the cloak, but because of their anti-armor. Though, Dark doesn't have a lair yet, so that means cloak actually wouldn't be that bad either. But I'm being unfair to Stassin, there's really not that much time here. I mean, what is the rush distance on Romanticide? I'm sure it's less than 40 seconds. Oh, Dark's Overlord is revealing that the ramp is unguarded. He was coming anyway, but that's another green flag. Oh, Stassin must have lost track of that Overlord. Dark gets right up the ramp to the natural. That is not good. Stassin's in so much trouble. He focuses down a roach. Dark tried to peel it off, but it didn't work. Oh, Dark saves a roach by turning it into a cocoon. Sick micro. And now the natural is at his mercy. Belay that, Mr. Forge. The Keiron are coming to the rescue here. Stassin is shaped in another pulsar, and he is back to save the day. Keiron's gonna hold. Keiron's gonna hold. The converters trap the Ravager. Now it's Stassin who's showing off the micro here. Dark may be sick, but Stassin was outright diseased. Oh my god, can you imagine if Stassin 2-0's Dark while he's playing Zerg? I'm on the edge of my seat. Well, not really, because I would fall off of it if I did that, but you know what I mean. And now Stassin starts that Foundry. He is in the zone, and that is great for him because Dark is continuing to make roaches. What Dark does have going for him, though, is he's got the lead on workers, and it is translating into a slight income lead. Ideally, Keiron would counter and do damage here. That is exactly what Dark's anticipating. He's making a spine crawler. Stassin is not actually countering, but just goes to show Dark agrees with me. We're like totally on the same page. 2 peas in a pod. We're like twinsies. Dark and I bet we're wearing matching socks. We'll probably go to the movies together and eat ice cream afterwards. Okay, I took that a little too far and made it weird. But in the meantime, Stassin has decided to attack. If you remember this map, the middle of it is so dangerous because your sight is completely blocked. All those lines of brush are sight blockers. Oh, Dark's arranged his roaches optimally in a line to guard that ramp. It tries to shade up and just gets annihilated. But it gives Stassin enough information to know he doesn't want to go up there. Dark got supply blocked when his Overlord got sniped. He's working to fix that, and he's also getting a lair. Stassin's getting his third base. Keiron's behind the Zerg on that, but that's probably normal. Okay, so Stassin's not just looping around for the third, he's actually going all the way home. But he did leave an Overlord Hunter behind. No numeric upgrades for either player at this point. In their defense, they have both been rather busy. Oh, that poor Volt found out he needed a permit to go Overlord hunting. He should have known better. It's obviously not Overlord season. Hey, maybe instead of a duck collar, the other factions should invent an Overlord collar. You blow into it and the other Overlords all come rushing towards you. And then you supply block the Zerg. Anywho, so lair on the way and third is done. And really, Stassin's not so far behind on that third. I mean, in Zerg terms, I think the Keiron's practically ahead. Oh, and it's actually double Foundry. That could make life difficult for Dark if he stays on Roach Ravager. Though he is going to have access to cheap detection pretty shortly. Because it really does look like Dark is going to commit to those roaches. As soon as he finished that lair, he went for roach speed. The old glial reconstitution, as nobody calls it ever. Double numeric upgrades starting up for Zerg. Double for Keiron as well, but it's +1 biological attack and +1 mechanical attack. Dark is running away on supply, but a lot of that is the roach inflation factor. I think he's going to look to hit right as he hits that +1/+1 speed timing. Triple foundries for Keiron generating charges. And indeed we are seeing Umbrae getting shaped in. We'll see if I'm right, because this is just theory crafting, but I'm thinking they're going to be pretty good against the roaches. Assuming Dark gets detection, it shouldn't be game ending or anything like that. I'm just thinking he could realistically hold this even with the army differential. Oh, he got sight of the Overlord. I think he might have done that with his Oculus. He built one earlier. There it is. There's the pool of light. That's not going to give him much of an advance warning when the roaches show up. Oh, but a Volt Scout will. He knows it's here. Time to guard that ramp. Dark has made an Overseer. Does he know how much he needed that? Does he know the Keiron, or is that just a veteran timing? He's parked just outside that Oculus pool. Oh, speed finishes. I think that's the go sign. It is. Dark busting his way up the ramp. He can't get up there. Oh, he pulls back to draw the Keiron down. It works. He's doing stutter step while pulling the Keiron out of position. They're nose to nose. Who's got this? Roaches streaming in from behind. Dark is committing the full force of the Zerg here. Roaches dying in droves, but they are getting replaced. It's a total bloodbath, but there seems to be more ochre-colored blood than red. The roaches have it. Keiron's pulling back to the ramp. The Overseer's giving vision at the top of the ramp, though. Dark is up. Dark has made it to the top of the ramp. Stassin is fighting for his life at this point. The roach stream is not showing any sign of letting up. Stassin's using the pulsars to tank the hits. He pulls the Umbra back behind the pulsars. They slightly outrange the roaches. Just 5-4. Both players trying to make as many units as possible. Gas is the limiting factor. Every time I think Stassin is done, he comes right back. Dark tries to switch things up. He goes for the third, but Stassin stays on him. The Umbrae really do damage those roaches. It's just that their rate of fire is not quick enough. Stassin shapes in from the fourth. He's trying to get a pincer going, but so is Dark with his rallying units. It's chaos. Stassin's even dropping an Energize to try to protect his units. I said it before, I'll say it again. Who's got this? Once again, it looks like Dark has the upper hand, but Stassin with another good concave. An irresistible force is meeting an unmovable object. Dark now making roaches 11 at a time. Stassin has recovered his ramp. I don't think Dark is done though. He's just trying to collect his units into one mighty clump again. But Stassin will take any breather he can get, anything. Hold it, is Dark going home? He's researching Burrow, the hidden upgrade for roaches. When a roach successfully burrows, it heals at a rate of 7 points per second. It takes a lot of micro, but Dark's one of the people who can do it. No supply block from those Overlord losses. Everybody's army's been whittled down. Dark realizes this is not going to end quickly, and he takes another base. Stassin has a very similar thought, and he takes a base. In both cases, the new bases are going to be low ground and much more exposed. Oh, it's not just a burrow upgrade. Dark is also getting tunneling claws. There's no tech transition here. Dark is seriously committed to roaches, which means looking ahead, it's actually going to be Stassin who needs to have detection. As constructed, the Keiron currently has 4 different methods of detection, and the only one of those that Stassin has going right now is that Oculus pool. And I don't think that's mobile enough for what he's gonna need. With that brief pullback, Dark's army has swollen back up to size, and he continues to increase it. 10 more roaches on the way. He's looking to try for the ramp at the right. Or I thought he was, I don't think he'd do anything there. There he goes. Stassin has some units to defend that ramp, but it's way too small. Stassin's getting +1 shields and +2 mechanical weapons. None of which is going to be enough when that roach force comes. You can see how quickly those roaches heal up to full. Oh, he wasn't healing. He was waiting for tunneling claws to finish. It's submarine time. Dark's going to split his forces for maximum surprise. This has the potential to be incredibly ugly. Oh, Stassin detects it. He's got an Oculus nearby. Dark heads up the ramp though. There's no detection up there. The hamster balls of doom follow the roach cloud, but they can't attack it. An opponent can see the black scar marks of the tunneling roaches. But without detection, they can't do anything about it until the roaches surface, which they have. And it looks like the third got raided as well. 31 dead workers. And climbing. Yes, Dark is supply blocked, but Stassin took it right on the chin there. Stifling economic damage. And Dark goes for the fourth. He is not letting up. This is go for the throat, go for the jugular type stuff. He pulled Stassin's army away from that fourth, and now he's gonna ravage it. Stassin can't be everywhere at once and he's gonna lose his main. He opts to go for Dark's biggest force. If he can crush that army, he can clean up her counter. But that's the fight that Dark wants. It's the one he can reinforce. The Pulsar Ombre combo has worked for Stassin before. Will it work again? Against the odds, with half the army supply, Stassin is forcing Dark back. Or is he getting drawn away? Because he is getting hollowed out right now. Latent charge about to finish. That's the upgrade that makes the Volts so much more deadly. Their attacks get very Mutalisk-like. They get bouncy. Oh, Stassin's income is now in shambles. He's barely mining at all. This has to do damage. If Dark holds this, I think he wins. He's adding in the roaches to deal with it. GG for Dark. Dark ties up this series in a nail-biter. Oh my god, Stassin can tell his grandchildren about the time he almost beat Dark's Roach Rush. Sure, Grandpa, sure, whatever you say. He had an onion on his belt because it was the style at the time. So clearly I thought this would be a lot less close than it was. I thought it would be a beatdown, but Stassin made Dark sweat. But now Dark has to sweat because he's not allowed to play Zerg again. Or Terran or Protoss. Will Stassin go for a classic race now? Or will he stick with Keiron? I think he sticks with Keiron because even if it's not his best race, it's probably the case that Dark just doesn't know enough about it. Anyways, let's not guess, let's just find out. Let's get to Game 3. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Game 3, here we come. Yes, it's gonna be a GVK. With the excitement of that opening proxy, I don't think I ever properly covered that this is a match from the group stages, best of 3, and that our players are fighting for a spot in the round of 16. Round of 16 is day 2 of the tournament. This game comes from day 1. And if you can make it to day 2, round of 16, you're already in the money. Oh, as we've seen before, Stassin likes to pick up that econ boost, the energize ability, before he builds his edifice. Unlike other factions, the Keiron has to make an initial payment before they can get their boost. They're a big believer in the old adage, it takes money to make money, baby. And Dark is gonna proxy again. In game 1, Stassin sniffed it out and reacted pretty strongly. This might be something of a sign of respect to Stassin. If you're concerned you can't beat somebody straight up, a rush build might be your best chance of success. Stassin appears to be keeping to his build. He's going with the edifice before the expansion. He's also scouting, but the route he's gonna take is not gonna spot that proxy. It looks though that this time it's just gonna be a single manufacturer for Dark. He's actually queuing up minerals now. So I think this is different. This is less of a commitment. He might even be expanding. I almost wonder if he's trying to do a little bit of mind games here and fake a proxy. He's just kind of sitting at 400 minerals here. Normally you'd say that's not an ideal build, but with Dark we'll say it's crazy like a fox. Stassin is gonna go ahead and build that citadel at his natural. Just don't stare too deeply into the maelstrom of the mystical tapioca pudding. For many a man has been lost in such sea. Oh, and now it's canceled. Stassin saw it. Stassin immediately redirects all the money into 2 extra edifices and a sanctum. If Dark was trying to provoke an overreaction, he will have succeeded. If this is a genuine proxy, he's got the same problem as game 1. Dark has expanded, and he's not making blitzers, he's making a Spitfire. You don't need gas to make those guys, but Dark did go ahead and get his gas. So he's obviously got plans beyond just a Spitfire rush. This is starting to look like some mind games. He sees that the natural's gone, and he might call that mission accomplished. If he goes up the ramp, he'll meet heavy resistance just like game 1. And those volts are gonna come down the ramp. So I think the problem for Dark now is he's provoked Stassin into making all these unit charges. There's a real chance Stassin's gonna use him and attack him early. Stassin replants his natural. The pudding is back, baby. And Stassin's 2 volts are streaking across the map. There's nothing at home for Dark. Dark's still trying to make his fabricator, but it's only halfway done. Dark definitely has the econ advantage. He's got the worker lead and he's pulling a lot more minerals. But his only unit, that Spitfire, is way out of position now. It's an open door and those volts are just gonna walk right in. They're gonna sit on his couch and take a beer out of his fridge. This is just rude, man. There's 3 of them now and they're gonna walk right up into the main unopposed. Fabricator's almost done. Dark's gonna pull the bots. There's nothing else he can do. Maybe he can look to get a surround here. He's trying for it. Stassin's running back. There's a torrent in production for Genetron. There's the surround. There was actually only one worker kill, just a single one. Certainly very significant mining disruption. Oh, but Stassin's not done. He's coming back. So a torrent is an anti-air unit. It's not ideal, but it's the fastest unit Dark can get out of a factory, and I gather that's the idea. He needs some kind of combat unit. Looks like he's lost his Spitfire, and he's not making any more at the proxy. Stassin's getting volt speed. Dark's trying to make a mole. How does a torrent stack up against 4 volts? I really did not think that would go so well for Dark. In the meantime, he tries to complete his wall by putting down a repulsor. That wall's not actually tight though. I think you can slip in units on the right hand side. Stassin is gonna reinforce the attack. He's adding in a pulsar. Oh, and he's sending over an echo. He's built a conduit. And suddenly Dark's decision to build a torrent looks prescient. Who am I to doubt the Dark one? The echo can't attack ground, but it can invoke its Discord mode. That's gonna slow down Dark's workers. Oh, sonic image teleportation. Stassin's just showing off his abilities here. And he flies into the torrent, possibly revealing to Dark that he has an excellent anti-air option. Oh, the echo's the distraction. He was trying to draw the torrent away so he could bring his volts inside. Which he does. That wall is definitely not tight. Stassin is inside and he is doing damage. Dark pulls the bots. Stassin's not running this time. He's going for worker kills. That's 6 already, but Dark just has no army. His repulsor turret goes into lockdown. Oh, but he repairs it out of lockdown. Dark is losing a ton of workers, but he is holding. The mole is out. The mole is out, and that's gonna be the hold. That pulsar can come back if he wants, but he's just gonna die. The question, though, is has Stassin done the damage he needed to do? Dark's economy is in shambles. Stassin hasn't taken a third, but he can easily do so now. Stassin's using the extra charges from the conduit to make fuses now. This is some of the lowest APM I've ever seen from Dark. I think he might be reading about the units. Wouldn't that be hilarious if he's like checking the help section? I love how Stassin put his conduit so far out there to try to extend the vision of his base. It's like a method of early air defense warning. Dark's making more moles, you can't argue with that. It's what's kept him alive in this game so far. Stassin does go ahead and take that third. He's gotta be tasting it. He has to know he's ahead at this point. If he can just find a way to close this out, Stassin could actually take Dark in a series. That's still something to tell the grandkids. Oh, he's finally gonna find that proxy, or fake proxy as it is. I think one Spitfire was all it ever made. Oh, but Stassin probably wasn't looking at his map. He didn't see it, or he just doesn't care. These volts are off to check the timing on the third. He wants to know if Dark's expanding on him. But Dark's just not at that point in his game yet. He's still trying to survive. He's just adding more moles. More moles, more moles! Moles were unquestionably my favorite unit when I started playing the Genetron. Okay, those pulsars are gonna get off their butt and deal with that proxy. You know we didn't pay for those fuses for you to just sit around all day, you know. Do something productive with your life. Kill a manufacturer. Don't you feel more actualized as a cyborg now? You could probably tell why I didn't get the gig as the Keiron motivational speaker. They told me they decided to go another way. Dark's wall is still not tight, but it does create quite the kill zone. I mean, I love that high ground mole. Stassin will lose a lot trying to bust in there now. It turns out even professional Zerg players know how to turtle. Oh, and he's making an assembly array. He's gonna try to get back into this with some air harass, I think. Dark's actually up to 5 moles right now. His best scenario is that Stassin attacks him and pays the price. But if Stassin just builds workers, he could really run away with this. He's getting that latent charge bounce upgrade again. We saw how deadly that was last game. And +1 bioweapons. That helps both the pulsar and the volt, which he's concentrating on right now. You can see he's got an Elysium, but he might have gotten that just so he could unlock the bounce upgrade. But it also means he can start adding in Crux to his army. Cruxes would let him cast Convergence, which does some serious damage to mechanical, which is really bad for Genetron. I'm betting Dark's never seen that in his life, and he probably wouldn't know how to dodge it right away. Meanwhile, Dark's still making more moles, but he's also making a Hornet now. He seems to be keeping all of his production in performance mode. We did see him overclock earlier in the series. Hornets are great for harass. I guess the issue is exactly this, actually. Stassin has echoes, and echoes can feast on Hornets. Dark is just not catching a break here. Last time an echo strode into Dark's base, it was a precursor for an attack, so let's keep an eye out for that. Nothing that we see so far. Right now, it looks like Stassin remains content monitoring his possible third base locations. The Echo's gonna scout. He's gonna be like, how many moles do you have? The turret was destroyed, so I think right now Dark has 0 anti-air. This is like a scouter's paradise. Echo goes into Discord mode. The Hornet comes on over to say hello. He says, hi, I only shoot down, but I really admire the way you turn into a giant orange ball. Dark realizes his mistake and sends his Hornet off to harass, but that just means Stassin got one really good warning about it. Dark will build an interdictor to try to get rid of that turret. He doesn't really have a choice, but the problem is the Echo's already set up a sonic image. So unless Stassin's asleep at the switch, the Echo's gonna be just fine. No gas on the third base as of yet, which is kind of like the one and only thing Dark has going for him right now. He's out mining on gas. There you go. Stassin making a Stratus, the air turret, in anticipation of that Hornet's arrival. Oh, he's even parking some volts over there as well. Something tells me Dark is not going to be impressed with his Hornet's performance here. Don't get me wrong, Hornets have wrecked many a mineral line, but unless he micros us with insane precision, I don't think that's what's going to happen here. Turn back! Turn back! He's thinking about, no, he's going to go in. It's a trap! Stassin not gonna let Dark pick off a single worker. And then as long as he's there, he's gonna energize his base. Triple assembly arrays for Dark. Okay, at this point, Dark has not expanded. He's still sitting on 2 bases. I think we can officially call this turtling. It looks like his new plan is to make a boar. Unlike the Hornet, the boar can attack air, so he can definitely deal with those echoes. If I'm Stassin, I start to wonder if Dark's taking a ninja expand somewhere. Oh, he's ahead of me on that. He's actually already got volts at the corners. And Stassin's gonna add a pair of atriums. He's gonna start teching up here. And he's gonna go 4 bases to 2. Things are looking dark for Dark. The notorious slayer of professional foreigners is in trouble. I'm just checking to see where he's pointing that Oculus. Oh, there it is. He's using it to give himself even more advanced warning of air harass. It's safe to say that Stassin's left side is very well locked down. He's gonna try another scout with an Echo. He's just like, what is Dark doing? At this point, I'm starting to wonder if Dark has that same question. Hold that, I think we might know. Dark is making triple Badgers. Dark wants to kill that Echo before Stassin figures that out. But unless he's actually ramming, the Echo is just too fast for the boar. The boar kills one of the volts and then it moves south. It looks like it's gonna try to harass. This will definitely be the first boar harass I've ever seen. The boar does shoot down, but it's not exactly a deadly attack. It's an air specialist. One that takes a little bit of practice to get the hang of, too. You kind of have to aim the ramming, which is probably why we don't get to see the boar as often as we should. But I think Stassin could just clean this up with a pack of volts. Dark once again proving me wrong. He's actually getting this to work. He's getting some kills in. And then the Echo responds. The boar can kill the Echo. Dark's gonna use the ram to escape. That was actually kind of clever, but it didn't work. As soon as it wears off, it becomes clear that the Echo is faster, and now Stassin's gonna chase him down and kill him. This is probably the first Echo to ever kill a boar. He's gonna brag about this to all his friends over some beers tonight. I'm guessing we just saw Dark try out a unit he'd never used before. The good news is the Badgers are pretty user-friendly. They lay waste to everything on the ground. They have simultaneous attacks against air, which isn't bad. And if Dark knows how to use the power shield, he could actually get something done. I guess the problem is Stassin's getting close to maxing out here. Oh, Dark showing signs of actually securing a third. Yeah, he's gonna expand. He's really playing this like a Terran. We've seen games where Maru will play where even though his opponent practically has the entire map, Maru will still slowly expand and somehow come back to win the game. So maybe there's a style of play here that Dark can pull off. Stassin's gonna take a 6 base at this point. The econ advantage is pretty insane. I mean, Dark's main is probably starting to run out of patches at this point. Oh, that glowing dude is a gyre with a fuse inside of it. We've seen Stassin use its Annex ability to pick units up before. He's one of the few Keiron players out there who's gotten really good at it. I can't imagine after all this scouting that Stassin's just gonna let Dark take another base. But so far, he hasn't really committed his army to doing anything about it. He's just kind of pecking away with volts. Dark's looking to advance his moles. If he can actually get those set up, it's conceivable that he could secure a third. I mean, Stassin is maxed. It's in his interest to trade. Okay, here they come. Okay, here he comes. I'm not sure this is the full force of his army, but it's definitely enough to do the job. Dark wants to be hyper efficient here. I think the first step is to cancel. He does not. Stassin shuts it down. It's almost as though Stassin was waiting to let him get his hopes up first. Meanwhile, Dark is stockpiling his Badgers. Stassin did scout that he has triple assembly arrays, but does he know the level of Dark's commitment? Because so many of Stassin's units are going to be useless against Badgers. Myriads, Umbra, Pulsars, none of those are going to do anything but die. It's going to be up to the Volts. The good news is they are heavily upgraded, and their bounce attack will be super effective. Stassin's just dumped his money into making endgame structures. Pantheon, Zenith, and even an Aegis. So if Dark actually does jump out here and crush that army, which is possible, he needs to immediately do tons of damage to Stassin before Stassin can remax with a much higher tech army. I mean, this is interesting. Dark technically now has the larger army, but mostly that's because he has no workers, which is mostly because he has no bases. Stassin sends in a Harbinger, that's the right unit. If he gets that into judgment mode, he can do some area damage. I think the jig is up for Dark, he's gonna go! Oh, this is gonna be fun. Dark should steamroll here, at least initially. Badges are hit with that Herald energy cannon. Dark activates the power shell. I'm not sure how much power he has, but he's effectively invincible for the short term. Stassin's in full retreat, that's absolutely the right call here. He needs to shape in a different composition. Will Dark give him the time to do it? Badgers just lay waste to things on the ground, especially things that can't attack back. I love how Dark has included that one boar in his composition. He's like the coxman in a racing boat. He's got a megaphone to cheer the Badgers on. Kill everything now! I keep watching the production tab to see what Stassin's gonna do here. He's making one more Harbinger, but that's not gonna do it. Oh, he has inducers, okay. Dark needs to focus fire those, I don't know if he knows that. Stassin fights inside and energize. Oh, terrific move there. Dark doing a lot of damage. He just can't afford to lose his army because he'll never rebuild it. Stassin's a bit more like Captain America. He's like, I can do this all day long. Every Badger is gonna be so precious to Dark. Okay, that's the strategy. It's not inducers, it's not Harbingers, it's Volt City. That's where his upgrades are. He's gonna make them work. Stassin runs in and says, let's trade. Dark says no thank you and tries to leave, but he's not gonna be fast enough. Dark sent the moles down to help. He needs to get those burrowed immediately. No, it's GG. Stassin takes the series. 2 games to 1. You can't make this stuff up. No, I am not going to permit myself to talk about this series as much as I want to. I just want to get this out to you guys right away. Everybody needs to see this. Grand Scion Cup is happening. But props to Dark. He could have been doing other more familiar things, but he took the time out to give it a shot. And of course, props to Stassin for an impressive win. So from my base to yours, let me just say, Zugzwang out.